Hello again, everyone. This is Joe, and this is the weekend market update. We're going to take a look at the Dow Industrials on the daily and weekly chart, but then my primary focus this weekend is going to be on the biotech. I'm going to look at the IBB and the S&P 500 Biotech ETF, XBI. So briefly look at those two, and then dive into the top 5 holdings of XBI. So stay tuned. All right, so let's take a look here at the Dow. Yeah, this is the weekly chart. You can see we continue to hover up in here near that upper end of the channel. We were down 117 points for the week, 116.979 exactly. And you can see this is how it looks. We're just slightly of an outside down type candle in here. Low 327, low, yeah. So slightly outside down. You know, it's not... There's no real breakdown on the Dow Industrials yet, but we are bumping up, as I say, near the top end of that channel. So we'll see how the next week or two starts to play out. Let's take a look at the daily chart here. This is what happened on Friday. Friday was a tight little doji candle. It was down about 40 points, and the trading range was nothing more than, what is that? 60 points, 59 points between the high and the low, and that's it. So very, very tight little compressed trading, and we did get it to close below that 10-day moving average. The blue line is the 10 exponential, 21 simple, 55 simple. All right, so that's the picture on the Dow for the week. It's interesting. Let me go back to that weekly chart. It's interesting. The Dow was down 0.5% this week, but the Dow transports were down 2.6%. The German DAX was down 2.6%. The French CAC 40, their leading index, was down 2.5%. The UK was down 1.7%. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see with this strong weakness in Europe and the rumblings that are going on in the Middle East and elsewhere, what happens with our markets over the next few weeks. All right, that's the picture on the Dow. Let's take a look at, let's start off here with the IBB, which is the one that I've looked at mostly in the past. So this is the Nasdaq Biotech. For the week, it was down $4.69. Now, I have had these trend lines on here drawn for quite a while. I'm still holding these. Kind of looks like a, you know, a very large wedge type pattern, but nonetheless, the key thing is the key component in here is this trend line right here. And we bumped down to it the last couple of weeks. And then this last week, we broke down through it a little bit. So watching to see if we're going to get some continued movement to the downside. You know, this ETF has kind of stair-stepped its way up. So I wouldn't be surprised to get some support kick in at the lows in here, 302. And then, you know, you can just stair step your way down. You're going to get support coming in at 290. I would be shocked to see this whole thing break. Now, the interesting thing about this ETF is this is a cap-weighted ETF, okay? So here's where a lot of the big name biotechs, Amgen, Gilead, Regeneron, Celgene, these guys are all in those are 4 of the top 5 holdings. The top 5 holdings in the Nasdaq, in IBB, account for about 1/3 of their entire holdings, okay? Now, if we go over here and take a look at the S&P 500 XBI, this biotech, this is more of an equal weight. The top 5 holdings account for, I added it up somewhere, I think it's about 12.5% are the top 5 holdings. And we're going to take a look at those here in a minute. Now, here's the interesting thing about the IBB and XBI. When you look at all of their trading and you go from the lows back here in 2009 to the highs, percentage-wise, they're both about the same in terms of the movement that they've made, 14 to 90, and IBB is like 57 to 400. So it's percentage-wise almost equal. This one has come back a little stronger in here in terms of coming back and trying to come up and test the highs. The high on XBI back in 2015 was about $91, and we got to that high here in October. A high was $88.98. So we got close. Now we seem to be rolling over a little bit. Now as I start to look at the indicators, in here, this is where you see, these are all weekly charts too. This is where you're seeing divergence come in, Okay, so the RSI is showing up, and I always like to see the divergence show up when it is in overbought or oversold territory. That's where I like to see the divergences show. Just like over here, if you look at this one right here, and this was back in 2015, that showed up in this move to the peak, and what did we get? Pretty big sell-off. So this is going to be interesting to see what happens here. DI plus, we're getting divergence in here. The demand index, we're getting divergence in here. Same thing. It showed up big time back, in 2015. So this is going to be really, really interesting to watch. So let's dive in and take a look at the top 5 holdings. And I cannot pronounce this stock very well. Alnylam. I'm probably mispronouncing it. Alnylam Pharmaceuticals, okay? And so this is the picture. What I've done is I've basically taken 5 years back, okay? The weekly charts, again, these are weekly charts. So you've got Alnylam up here testing the prior high at about 140. Now, the week before last, it tried to get through it and then sold back off. The bears got control of the second half of the week. Then this week it came back up and it tested it and it closed right at that high, okay? And this is intra-week high here at 140. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see if the selling continues to kick in at this level or if this can continue to punch through. Now, when I look at this from a Elliott wave perspective, this looks like, a 5-wave structure. We had a first move, a sharp pullback, a third move, more of a sideways. It looks like kind of a flat, all right, which is a sideways, what you expect as an alternate to the sharp pullback in here. And now we're in the 5th move. Now, it's really not clear as to are we getting 5 waves in here right now. What you want to watch for, what I'll be watching for, is some kind of reversal pattern here on the weekly chart. So this is a little error, need to get rid of that. So this is the picture on Alnylam Pharmaceuticals. All right, let's take a look at one that one of the folks pointed out to me, Exact Sciences. He said, hey, take a look at Exact Sciences. This stock is incredible, okay? This is a 5-year picture again, and this has been on fire, all of this year. If you look at, here's the close on December 30th at $13.36, and here it is up at $60.37 as of Friday. So the stock is, now this is a semi-log chart too. That's the other thing I want to point out, okay? I think there's 5 waves in here, and what I think is going on is I think that this 5th wave is a very extended wave, okay? Because we had a, pretty good wave 3 in here, and now all of a sudden we're getting this very strong, even stronger 5th wave. And so what does that tell me? What does that mean to me? This is exactly what I diagnosed when I looked at Under Armour, back when I was looking at the weekly chart of Under Armour. When this thing corrects, when this thing starts to correct, it is going to be a fairly rapid move, and it's going to come all the way back at a minimum. The first target I'm going to have is going to be a wave 2 within this 5 wave, okay? And it's going to be back here somewhere, is my guess. But we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves right now. So far, we haven't seen a reversal. We haven't seen a breakdown. I mean, you got a pretty sharp trend line going on in here. The thing I want to point out to you is, let me get back to my mouse. Okay, let's convert this to arithmetic and see how this looks. Wow. Okay, and then let's just scroll this out and look at all the trading I've got on Exact Sciences. And does this look a little parabolic to you? Yeah, this looks like a rocket ship trying to go to the moon. All right, and we've seen this picture before. So I would be really, really careful at this point because this thing, they don't keep doing that, okay? So this has gotten very, very extended. It's had one heck of a run. My point would be, don't get greedy. All right, let's see. The next one we take a look at is Puma Biotechnology. And this is interesting 5-year chart. This has had a breakout in here. The real question I've got, I mean, we had one heck of a move here and we had a big correction. That's the other thing on these biotechs. Yeah, they can have pretty stellar moves to the upside, but man, they can have some pretty vicious corrections too. Okay, so don't think everything just goes straight up and straight to the moon, because they can really correct pretty hard and pretty fast. Now, I mean, look what it did this week, down $27.45 at closing at 103. Now, pretty big pullback in here. Now, what was it experiencing? We were getting divergences on the indicators. I mean, look at the move. This move was not being confirmed. RSI, DI plus, these were flags being waved. Flags are waving going, hey, whoa, caution, caution. This is not being supported. You're getting extended. And then all of a sudden you get a correction like that. So it's kind of to be determined where is this going to come back to right now. But that's the picture I've got when I take a look at Puma technology. In my mind, I'm kind of wondering, is this a corrective? Is this just an ABC, kind of move like this, and then it's getting ready to do this again? It's really hard to tell because, it's already had a pretty good corrective move in here. If this continues to stay, if we don't get a lot of overlap in here, then that would support more of an impulsive type look. So right now we just have to watch and see how the wave count unfolds on it. That's Puma. Let's take a look at Seattle. Let's see. Yeah, that's Seattle Genetics. Now this one looks a little more bullish to me, although we do have some trending down here. Okay, again, this is a weekly chart, 5 years. Okay, and I say bullish. Why is that? Because it broke out of this big corrective mode in here, broke this trend line pretty substantially. This looks like a nice strong impulsive wave. We've got a nice big corrective wave back, and it looks like we're getting another potential impulse wave that way. The real key is, if this keeps pulling back, as long as it doesn't overlap in here, okay? The one negative I don't like is that we got to close below a prior 2-week low in here. So this looks kind of strong in terms of the pullback that's occurring. That's one thing that's got my attention. So that's the picture. I'm trying to think if there was something else on this. I think that's about it. I think from a bullish perspective, what I'd be looking for is a resumption where you get a week where you get a close above the prior week high. Looking for it to resume a push to the upside. All right, so this is Seattle Genetics. This is looking a little more bullish than some of the others right now. The next one, we'll take the last one actually, is, I'm probably mispronouncing this, Sarepta Therapeutics. This one is talk about a wild ride. The key thing I saw in here is this $55 level. Okay, so it tried to get to the $55 level back here in October 2013, so 4 years ago, and we got a big reversal candle, and then it sold off very quickly and very hard. And then look at the wild moves that this thing has had. Then it came back up to 55 again, and it broke through it in September of last year, and it held for a couple of weeks, and then that was all she wrote. And then she sold back off again. Now we're back up to that level, and this week was a little doji candle. So it tried to get up into here, and now we're getting this pause. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see what kind of price action we get this coming week with this. I really don't have a whole lot more to read into this. We're seeing just a whole lot of wild swings back and forth. I mean, if you literally draw a line right through the middle of this, where are you? You're at about 25. I mean, the average price over the last 4 years is about $25 a share in terms of the volatility that's going on right now. So I think the key interesting thing is, how does this thing react right here around 55? All right, that's it for this week. Kind of a long, I'm calling this a video log because I'm going to be posting this on my website. This is, instead of writing a whole bunch of text, going to have this video there, and we'll be talking about biotechs and talking about these top 5 of the S&P 500 biotech ETF. All right, if you felt like the video was helpful and you liked the video, hit the thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber on YouTube, subscribe. And if you'd like to get more notices of this, check out my website and subscribe to get on my email list over there on the website. You can get free updates that I put out now, free updates on Tuesday, Thursday, and on Saturday. It was a different video I put out this weekend to my email subscribers. All right, that's it. And of course, my insider members had a 34-minute, very detailed video that we went through here this morning, Saturday morning. Everyone have a great weekend and a great coming week.